John, it's a good point. I think one other question that comes to mind is how do you think about, at least for small to mid-sized companies, deciding between going with the hyperscalers and building some of these solutions themselves in-house versus going with application vendors that maybe a better user experience but more generic and not as specific, maybe a little bit more expensive? How do you navigate that, or is that even a consideration that we should be thinking about?
It's quite a bit more complicated than that, Manny, because it's not just hyperscalers and ISVs in the world. There are more players than that. You have OTSIs that have different types of technology for the ops folks and the quality folks, and they're the ones that are coming in, hooking up camera systems, PLCs, edge devices on the shop floor. Those OT system integrators sometimes have their own software packages and software offerings as well, so those are a player in the space. Then you also have the GSIs, the global system integrators, your Cognizants and Wipros and TCSs of the world. And for all of those global system integrators, you also have local regional system integrators that are more on the IT side of the house. And those folks also can help you implement software, build software from scratch, implement other people's software for you if you need help. So it's a bit of an onion when you start peeling the layers back, and it can be challenging to understand. What I would say, and I think really where you're going with this comment, is do you buy or do you build? Simply put, right? When it comes to software technology, do I buy it? Do I build it? I don't know if I'm the right person to tell you what to do because every organization is different. Now, let's just be honest with ourselves. If you're a 20-person manufacturer, 100, 200-person manufacturer, you probably don't want to start investing in software development skills, engineering skills that are required to run the software day in and day out, because that's not your core competency, right? Your core competency is creating whatever it is that you create on that shop floor or in that plant. Right. So the good news is all of those crazy acronyms, GSIs, ISVs, OTSIs, all of these crazy letters, those are all different types of people that are there to help you install and run your software. Then it becomes a question of what type of software do I need and who offers it? Now, you mentioned building stuff yourself with the hyperscalers. That is one path where an integrator can use components from a hyperscaler and build a solution or build a pointed application for you. Also important to note, now I think all of the main hyperscalers, right, at least in the American market, there's three. If anyone doesn't know who we're talking about, it's Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. That's who basically powers the internet, right, in America. There are others in other geographies. You've got Alibaba in China and so on and so forth. Those hyperscalers today, to my knowledge, also offer pointed applications. So it's not just the building blocks that are required to build applications like years ago. Today, they also have pointed applications, and some of those are natively built or homegrown, whatever you want to call it, within the hyperscaler. Some of them are done in conjunction with partners and other vendors in the market. So it just totally depends.
And I think that's why it's so important to start with the use case and the value that you're unlocking for your organization, because that's going to determine these, how you're going to implement. So if you think that you're going to be tapping into something that is going to be a core differentiator for you and your business long term, for 5 years, for 10 years, all right, maybe it makes a little more sense to build in-house, control it, to be very custom about it. But if it's something somewhat generic, you just want maybe some more visibility on a particular machine, it's kind of not core to what you're doing, maybe that's an instance where you just want a SaaS off the shelf, like just send me a monthly bill
exactly.
kind of thing.
And the good news is for small and medium businesses, if you're going after a use case that's already very prevalent in this market, and I'm talking about things like that we mentioned already, condition-based monitoring, field services related applications, things that for example are intelligent about how they serve up work instructions to mitigate an outage, stuff like that. If we're talking about ERP systems, raw materials tracking, inventory management, right? All of the core components that really run industrial organizations, there's a point and click application for all of that stuff. right? Already there are ERP systems that are just
Right.
very, very easily deployed. There are condition-based monitoring, predictive maintenance solutions that are easily deployed today. Where it starts getting really difficult and sometimes cumbersome is making all of these different systems work together. And that's why earlier
Right.
we were talking about having a data strategy and spending time to really put some thought behind how are all of these systems going to integrate with one another.